We'll call the meeting to order at 4:35. There's a rise and say pledge, please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dispense with the financial report for the non-renewal.
Yeah, I mean, our whole thing. What you did? Just want to sign a couple of warrants for us. That's all. First, we're going to review and sign our meeting minutes. Okay, Bobby, you weren't here. Yep.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes from last time.
A second? Okay, you weren't there. I'm the one I can second it. All in favor? Aye. Okay. That's that. Let's go vendor warrants. Okay, did you want to make a motion to do something?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we get right to the reason that most people are here, and I have some prepared information that I'd like to read, and I respectfully request that you all just let me finish before you jump in, and I'll be happy to entertain any questions or concerns about what I'm about to go over.
Okay. I second that motion. Okay. What's that?
All right.
Okay.
Let me start off by letting you know that I have certain expectations, and so do you. A little bit of history. The reason we're here and not going along with collections 2 years ago. All this started more or less when your TA made unreasonable, discriminatory, and illegal demands to our superintendent regarding the working conditions and hours of work of our administrative assistant, which, by the way, is one of the reasons that spawned the MCAT complaints against him, which is public knowledge. There are 2 MCAT complaints against him. Then it turned into an effort to terminate benefits and pay time off for the same person for not being able to work 40 hours a week due to medical disability, which, by the way, is also illegal. After over 1 year of negotiations, a year between myself and the TA, who in my opinion negotiated in bad faith, it wasn't until I went to the Board of Selectmen with a proposal that frankly, in my opinion, embarrassed you into doing the right thing and into an equitable agreement to retain at least prorated benefits for our administrative assistant. All this was done under the false guise of reducing costs to the town, which was false because our budget is not taxpayer provided, in spite of the fact that the sewer department employees' salaries and benefits do not come from taxation, but from users' fees for service. The annual pay increase that was duly approved at town meeting has been denied by the TA on a technicality, claiming we violated town bylaw by not submitting employees to a performance review by the town administrator. Our employees do not report to the town administrator, and therefore he is not entitled to do a performance review of them. And in fact, the town has made multiple violations of the same bylaw by not following timing and other requirements, claiming lack of adequate staff. The TA has presented 4 proposals under the pretense of saving the sewer users tens of thousands of dollars by having the town take over basically all of the duties of the sewer enterprise. It's obvious to anyone that those proposals are a blatant attempt to gut the sewer department enterprise and get access to the cash by indirect costs and other means. The town is desperate for cash, and this is one place they've got it in the past. In the past, they took $200,000 of our enterprise fund one year and $50,000 the next year, so it is not unprecedented to be worried about that. You can review the tapes of your own Board of Selectmen meeting where Haley Brooks asked Caplis if indirect costs billed to the sewer enterprise can be used to supplement the general fund. Caplis's answer, yes. Then you threaten us with legal and legislative action if we don't accept your town TA's proposal, item number 4 apparently. If you're so concerned about protecting the taxpayers, why are you so intent on wasting tax money on legal action? You don't have the money. When this whole thing could go away simply by agreeing to allow the sewer enterprise to have personnel control over our own non-union employees. The TA makes no attempt to control Light and Water Enterprise, and I'm aware that they're under a different Mass General Law, but if he could, he would. But it shouldn't matter. We should be afforded the same privileges. Caplis likes to say, we're not after your money, and perception is reality. I agree, perception is reality, and you or your TA are out to take over the sewer enterprise. It's clear as a nose on my face. If, as you claim, that's not true, then you have enough on your own plate in the town to get the town solvent without wasting money trying to run the sewer enterprise. It's really none of your business. I know the TA is very eloquent and convincing, and I'll give him credit for that, with his apparent thorough knowledge of everything government. He'll have a very convincing retort about each one of my points. I know he will. I've negotiated with him for a year. But I caution you to look at his background and reputation from previous employment. And again, let me just repeat something I said at the beginning. This is not an attack on the a personality attack on the TA. But I'm just telling you the facts. So you need to check his previous employment before accepting his retorts that he'll give you at face value, because it really, really is convincing until you look behind the mask. To help you with that, I have some information gleaned from public sources that indicate he is far less than trustworthy, honest and trustworthy. One more thing. Your mantra has been, the auditors recommend, or the auditors suggested recommendations. Recommendations are not law, and you have failed to follow many of the auditor's directions, not the least of which are hire a full-time TA, not a part-timer. Do not hire someone who is retired. Do not hire someone who has failed in other communities. He meets all of those criteria. He fails all those requirements, excuse me. So which of you guys and the rest of your board has been asleep at the wheel when the decisions to hire this guy and keep renewing his contract? I won't even get into the issue of the many long-time qualified employees that have been fired, forced to leave, or retire under dubious circumstances. I've got a proposal here, but I'm just going to skip over it for a minute. I want to go to the Coalition of New Hampshire Taxpayers website. This is what it says about Carter. Subject A, Carter Terrazzini. Sneaky, conniving, power-hungry town administrator of Moulton Borough. They actually had a town meeting where they voted to cancel the funds to pay him and force him to resign. Another comment says, the smoking gun is Carter Terrazzini. He was involved in a kerfuffle between the selectmen and one of the other boards. This is what he's done in other towns. Let me also go over the job description of the town administrator. Not the whole thing, I'll just go with some relevant points. Chief Administrative Officer, supervise, direct, and be responsible for efficient administration of all departments and employees under the jurisdiction of the Board of Selectmen. We are not under your jurisdiction. Coordinate with all committees, commissions, and officials, not under the direction of the Board of Selectmen. Elsewhere, creates and maintains accurate job descriptions for all town positions under the jurisdiction of the Board of Selectmen, and works cooperatively with those that are not. Town administrator shall appoint based on merits and fitness all employees under the jurisdiction of the Board of Selectmen. We're not under your jurisdiction. Now, all this is what been causing us to drag our feet because of his heavy-handed abuse of power, and he's got no business trying to run the sewer department. This has been run effectively for years. We got nothing to hide. I've got a little bit of a proposal here. You can take it for what it's worth. We're not asking for much. In return for agreeing to begin the process of moving collections to the town collector, that's us, will agree to that. You will agree to grant the sewer enterprise control over personnel policy for our non-union employees, however you want to do it, by exception to the town bylaw, by a waiver, any way you want to do it. You will immediately grant the pay raises that you've been denied for a year now, retroactively with interest. We will make a good faith effort to cooperate with reasonable requests from the town regarding all other business issues and make a good faith attempt to conform to other best practices. Any other issues, such as staff reduction here, or moving billing to the town, are a non-starter and specifically excluded. That's, and I haven't talked about this with the rest of my commissioners. They may just kick me in the butt. That's what I'm proposing. And you know what? We agree to those 3 or 4 points. This whole thing goes away. That's all we're asking, control over our own people. Leave us alone. I'm done. Thank you. If you have any comments before I turn it over to Mark, whatever your name is, I'd be happy to entertain him. Anybody? And Diane, you specifically are always saying, well, we have to protect the taxpayer, we have to protect the taxpayer. We're worried about the ratepayers, who are also taxpayers, but to go ahead and threaten us with legal and legislative action to force us into doing what you want is wasting taxpayers' money. And I noticed on the temporary agenda for the town meeting, you're looking for extra legal funds. I will personally get up there and raise holy hell and vote against that, because I know what you're going to use those funds for. I have another question for you. Maybe you might know, and you probably can't tell me. How much money? I'll bet you've spent over $15,000 so far on legal funds to counteract those MCAD complaints. You know, all this could go away, John, with a simple.
You can't say that.
I can't.
All right, I'm done.
What the cost was for those two complaints.
Yeah, I know, because Carter had an MCAD complaint with Spencer, which he got thrown out of it, which went to court. They did win, the town did win, but you know what they spent on that? $60,000, $70,000. You got that kind of money? So let's just make it all go away. Let's just cooperate and give us what we want. We're not asking for much. Control over 2 employees.
2.5.
2.5.
Yeah, 2.5.
We'd have to go back to our board with that. We're not allowed to.
I think you guys have been the most unreasonable Board of Selectmen I've ever dealt with in this town on these issues.
Yeah,
Right, Mark?
You know, we, all the way back in 2009, when the DOR report said about the collections being moved to town hall. It's on record, I said it 100%. I agree, but at that time, the town was in the can. And the DOR, their response back was they agreed for us to continue what we were doing until the town gets back on its feet. The town is getting back on its feet last year with our certified free cash, correct? Was it last year? Mm-hmm. Okay. We finally just get a bond rating, which, all right, it's an A1, but there's other lower well, let's say low ones, which are higher. I mean, it's an A1, it's not top notch, there's a lot more above it. So let's go forward and do the collections. That's what we said we would do it, when the town got back on its feet, we would do it. Us, you, the accountant, the treasurer, whatever like this, have to get together, and your software people, our software people, and figure out how this is gonna work. The biggest, it's not, some people will just easy just give them the bills, but we get all our readings from the water department.
Yeah.
Our system and the water department systems are compatible. We are not compatible with your system at town hall. So there has to be something done, and that's cost money. I mean, it could be, what do you say?
Can I
Yeah.
just jump in for a
Yeah.
second? The software system we use is, anybody, computer people in here, is VMS based. VMS software is virtually unhackable. Your VAR system is going Windows based, cloud based. What could go wrong with that?
Ours is here and that's it. It's not out into the
Cloud.
World Wide Web, or out into the cloud. But we're willing to do, we're willing to do it. We've said it, and this is 10 years now. Yes, we'll do it, yes, we'll do it. And all those things, the audits have always come up with a recommendation for the collections. We've had discussions with the Light and Water, and we asked, is there any way anybody could steal money? You know, or whatever. And they said, virtually impossible. Someone could, maybe for a month or two, grab a few dollars, but it's gonna come right out anyway. So it isn't something that's gonna go on for years, someone keeps getting and not trying to hide it. There's no way that would ever happen in the system that we have. So, but the collections part, once it goes to town hall, we have to know down here who paid, what their balance is, because our stuff still comes from water department. We come here, I mean,
It's going to be a process, is to place it, test it, you know, make sure it works, and have it, you know, beta thing on it, dry run it, and that's fine.
and some of our, a couple of things in some of the memorandum was how much we could reduce staff. We have 1.5 people, staff in the office. What the collections part is a very minimal part of what they do. We need someone in that office every day, from, you know, open to close. There are vendors that are coming in, there are haulers that are coming in. There's day-to-day stuff that goes on. There's DEP, there's EPA, there's the warrants, your vendor bills, everything that just goes on. It's all day long. It isn't just saying, hello, Templeton Superintendent, how many direct to call, and how much is your bill. The bill is a very small amount, and that's, so this, a couple of those things that, oh, we cut it down to a half a person. We don't have to, we're half staff. And then you'd have no benefits and all that other stuff. We need a person and a half. Why we need a person and a half is it happened before we had our administrative secretary fall ill, and if we didn't have our assistant, you know, with Carol, if we didn't have Carol to step up to the plate, someone would have to come in cold and start from scratch, would have no idea how the system works. And so we have to have that, so if one person's out, someone's always manning, you know, manning the phones. I mean, the phone rings continuously. So if you couldn't, you know, what if you were to, you know, cut, everybody up at town hall has a person and a half, or 2 people. You have a clerk and assistant clerk, you get an assessor and assistant clerk, or assessor or whatever like that goes through. If one isn't there, the other one takes over, or they're there for whatever, and we're the same way.
One other thing, talking about that, Carter's 4 proposals to save all these tens of thousands of dollars. I can only say a couple things about that. Figures lie, liars figure. You take a look at who put those proposals together. I they aren't worth the paper they're printed on. I gave you a simple proposal that solves everybody's heartburn, except maybe yours and Carter's proposal, the idea to gut the sewer department and take over and get a hold of the free cash. Don't forget, you said perception is reality. And they've taken free cash from me before, and I think he's got it in his mind to do it again, to look like a hero. It's not gonna happen, Joe.
Right.
And I don't even want to deal with the man anymore after dealing with him unprofessionally for a year. We negotiated in bad faith. I don't want to deal with the guy.
So,
Understood.
that's good. It'll shut off in a minute, Bernie.
It's probably warming.
Yeah, it's just
And Frank, just one other thing, sorry. I'm not engaging in character assassination. Everything I've just said, I've said to Carter personally. By some confidential emails back and forth. He knows exactly how I feel, and he knows I'm coming after him.
Okay. I appreciate that.
so.
Has the town ever requested this before and brought it before the townspeople for vote?
I mean,
That they take over a piece of the enterprise fund?
it's not taking over a piece of the enterprise. It's
Taking a
just-
piece of their function, collecting money?
2009 is when it was brought up about a deficiency of having one office do collecting, billing, and stuff like that. I mean, Light and Water do it over in their office altogether. They are a little different enterprise, how it works, but it's still doing it together. And they still have town employees, you still have, you know what I mean? So it's a recommendation. It doesn't say it's a law, it has to be done. They just they recommend it. I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong, but just they recommend.
There's something that I would strongly recommend you add to your plan or proposal, and that is that the town, in writing, because I don't trust, that the town in writing agree that they will follow the enterprise law in Massachusetts and keep a separate account for everything they collect.
We already have
It
that.
does.
Well,
It
that
is.
that would be, yeah.
That's
that
the
would
law,
be.
that you can't
That's the
change
law.
They
that.
don't, they can't commingle funds even now.
Nope.
We
Any
can't.
money that
We
they
don't.
collect in fees or anything will never go touch the general
No.
fund.
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't, it
It
can't.
doesn't.
Good point, though.
When it comes in, that's all
It goes right to
accountable.
the
It has-
sewer
It goes
enterprise.
to the sewer enterprise.
When I hear that this request was made, by surprise in this email that I got this week from the town, and I'm glad they put that email out, that was good. The first question I have to ask is why? Why do they want to take on, why does the town want to take on extra work?
Mr. Heaney, this
They've got
request
their
was made
plate
last
so
year as
full.
well.
Trying to keep their head above water, that I don't even know why they're bothering us down here.
I didn't hear what you
Yeah.
said.
This request was made last year to Mr. Songer as well.
That has nothing to do with my question.
You
You
said,
said it was a surprise.
surprise.
It's not a
This
surprise.
is-
No, my
ongoing.
question is why does the town want to take on extra work?
Yeah.
well, because the interpretation of the bylaw, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, because you're kind of my,
Bylaw guy? Is he
Yeah.
the bylaw guy?
Under
well,
the financial affairs, section 1, it says the town collector will collect all fees, dues that due the town.
That are generated
Do
by
all
the town.
departments follow that? No.
It's generated by the town.
But your it does,
Right.
enterprise fund is just
It's an
it's
accounting.
an accounting tool
It's
to
an
keep money
accounting.
separate from your, so your users and all the money that you have to spend based on your budgetary responsibilities are paid from the users, not from the town taxpayers. But it's still
The town department.
town department, so that was the point.
But not all the town departments are following that bylaw.
But again, that is also being addressed and corrected as well.
They should be
You're not the only department.
Oh, which one I've been saying that.
You know, you
we have
guys,
no- we're not
you guys are
saying-
special, don't get me wrong. I mean, I love coming.
We never said we don't want to have collections done at town hall.
Right, Mark said it
Yeah,
at the last
me.
meeting
Yeah,
that
me.
you
That's
were
you,
at.
Yeah, Mark said at the last meeting. And,
Yeah.
you know, and again,
Thank
we did some research, and I say we collectively, because I was involved.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, but again, I can't make decisions unilaterally, and I wouldn't do that here. So how I'm speaking today is just how John Caplis is speaking, not as, you know, as the board, as collectively as a
And-
whole.
This is gonna take some time to do this.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean, as in to get these systems figured out. I mean, I mean, you guys switched over to payroll, there were some glitches, you know what I mean, within the department, right? And it's still, every so often a glitch pops up, you know, with something, and it's gonna be the same thing. And so there's gonna be trial runs, I mean, it's 4 times a year, it's 1,430 some, right, Carol? 1,430,
Excuse me?
how many customers, 1,430 something?
Oh, 1478, the last billing.
Total, 1478, okay, so almost 1,500 customers. And it's, you know, it's done 4 times a year, and then you gotta get the people too, to, you know, for collections at town hall. They're still gonna mail them here, you know, they're still gonna get mailed here, they're still gonna drop them off in the, people still gonna drop in the box out front. They're still gonna drive down and give us the money. We're still gonna have to take it from here and truck it over to town hall, you know, with stuff like that. And so it's gonna take a long time for people to 100%, collections on a town hall. You can't say, no, return address, send it back to them.
No, I understand.
So it's gonna take some time, and this is gonna be, it's not just click
It's
and
a
switch.
transition.
It's a
Yeah,
transition work in progress.
it's gonna take 2, 3, or maybe almost a whole year of billing cycle to finally get everybody on board to do this.
Yeah, potentially, you're right. I think, Mr. Chairman, I think,
Okay, you want, there you go.
Yeah, well, the only problem I saw in the town manager,
Which one?
when they came down saying that our billing was off, was that they weren't reconciling between the
That is
treasurer
That's
and the
correct.
accountant.
Mhm.
And they were saying, well, the books are off, and they throw it to our secretary to figure it out.
I can
Whatever
answer
changes
that.
they made over there.
I can answer that.
Yeah.
Well,
The books have not been easy to reconcile for a number of years now. And I personally intervened, talking to Kelly, getting Carol involved, trying to get those figures to line up. And Kelly even admitted to me that they were doing things wrong up in town hall, which contributed to the problem. Her, not sure who, they weren't entering receipts properly to the accounts. They weren't doing this right, and those people have been retrained, Carol's been retrained, and now they're going back, they're still off by a few $1,000s, but this goes back
Wait for.
5 or 10 years now. They'll probably never get that reconciled.
I mean,
So that is not the fault of any individual here or any individual at town hall. I mean, that's just the way
they
it's been
can't find
handled
it,
in the
can't find
past.
it. We're not saying that's
So,
fault.
getting back to Bernie's question, why are you wasting so much time with the sewer department, where you got so much to handle at town hall? That, on his blog just recently, as a point, 17 items that the auditors recommended that haven't been addressed or aren't addressed adequately. I can't get into all
Some
of
of those
that.
are being
I don't
addressed and
understand
have been
all of them.
addressed.
But then again, getting back to our buddy, the TA, when that 30B alleged violation happened, when the presidency pump station totally broke down.
Yep.
He tried to nail us with a 30B violation, and our guy Kent actually talked to the town lawyer about that. No, you guys went the wrong. And you know what he did? He tried, because I was up talking to him again, negotiating. He was so worried that the auditors were going to find out that he broke the payments down into 2 payments to Machete and Sons. That is so illegal, and I've been warned by you and Cam, don't go there, don't go there, because I don't know, something behind the scenes that's gonna blow up if I do. So there you go. I mean, this guy is a bum. You can put it on video. He's a bum. We shouldn't be dealing with him, and you guys should fire him. And I know why you haven't, because you don't have anybody else to take his place.
I've
But
had
you gotta get
financial,
him back in his own lane and lay off the sewer department.
You're his boss.
We
You're
are,
his boss.
no, and I, again, I'm taking everything you're saying with, at face value here.
Bobby.
well, I was a little, I watched some of the selectmen's meetings to hear that the billing was done wrong down here, and then to confront him when he came to our meeting to find out that a lot of the things that were being done wrong were actually up at town hall, not down here at the sewer department.
Mhm.
But
I mean,
don't know if that got in the report or
I
not.
mean, there was a couple of things where, I know why books didn't reconcile was because we wouldn't take the discount when we paid our bill from, say, supplies, because we were over the 15 days. That's just how it was. But up at town hall, they would take the discount off, and then the books are off. You know what I mean? Numbers are changed on what we send up. When we sign for a warrant up to get paid, it's changed. You know, and then also, of course, the books aren't gonna.
That's not a case of nobody doing their job, it's a case of getting a process to account for that,
In the
that kind of stuff.
past, there was always an email sent down here to Linda saying, hey, this is what happened. You know, not, hey, the books are off,
All right.
go through everything and
Well,
figure it out.
I think at the end of the day, I mean, as you can tell, we're here, you know, and we all wanna, you know, work on the same page and work together for the commonality of the users as
I
well
keep
as.
hearing that from you, John, but nothing happens. I made a proposal here. Give us control over our non-union employees
We can't.
and pay them what you owe them. You would be surprised how the cooperation would change down here. I guarantee it. I'll personally promise it.
Well, I can tell you this, and this is just my standpoint. Obviously, as an enterprise fund, as a tool for managing, you know, sewer users' dollars to benefit
Right.
your accounting management piece and all that stuff. But as far as the personnel piece, I mean, the personnel piece, the town owns that. You know, like it or not, I mean, it's.
The town doesn't have to own it. There's a bylaw, and we've got a citizen petition bylaw to change that. I could take that out. All you have to do is say, okay, he's the personnel administrator for everybody. He already doesn't do the water and light department. Oh, they're under, and he'll come
They're
back and
under
say, well,
special
that's
law."
under a different mass general law. So what? We should be able to water the same principle, the same courtesy. It's not a big deal, John.
Okay.
It's two people. We're responsible enough to manage that. We don't need somebody coming in and taking away pay, refusing to pay people, taking away their benefits.
Well, the town's, you know, money management policies
And it
as well
doesn't
as
come from
personnel
tax money.
policies is the town's policies. These are policies that this town's never had before, until this board came into procession back 3 years ago. So, I mean, to the extent that there was no even a bad check policy, can you imagine that? You know, there was no, like, you came in the town hall, wrote a check and say it bounced. There was no bad check policy. Well, there is now, since last year. There's a book of policies, they're online, you can, more than happy to take a look at them. And same with the personnel policies, they're online. And you keep bringing up the light department, I mean, yeah, they're under special legislation, they independently run themselves.
But it says right here in the TA's job description, for boards not under the Board of Selectmen control. There you go, that negates the personnel policy right there in my mind.
Well, you're still a department of the town.
I'm sorry?
You're still a department of the town. That's why it's called the sewer
Absolutely.
department.
Yeah.
It's
And
not
we
called the light,
cooperate in
it's
every
not
other
called the light
aspect.
department. What's the light called?
The light's a department of the town, water's a department of the
Except an
town.
electric.
That's right. It's not, it doesn't say department.
Okay, we'll do a water department then. They're
Yes.
employees of the town.
You're absolutely right.
You know, so it's the same thing, but there's no issue there.
No, it's not saying it's not an issue, but, I mean, things have been said and addressed, you know, to that side of the house. Right now, our focus is to making sure that, you know, this group here is all on the same page, and I understand your frustration, I got your proposal, I wrote it down.
I'm super
I wrote it down.
frustrated, and
But I'm not
I'm
to
gonna
interrupt you,
tell
Tom.
if we don't get something for this,
Yeah,
I'm not inclined to vote to move forward with collections. And
okay.
it's not a lot, it's not a suggestion, we can draw this out for the next 5 years if that's what you wanna do.
Well, I'm not gonna be here, so by all means, you guys can figure that out when I'm gone, but I think at the end of the day, by the Department of Revenue, the auditors, bylaws, Inspector General's office, all have recommended this, and you know this.
Yeah, recommend, right.
Because
Right, we
again,
understand it's a recommendation.
it's a recommendation based on the fact that whoever's putting the bills out really shouldn't be collecting the dollars.
We're not
Because there's
disputing-
really no checks and
So
balance.
here's my question,
Yeah.
why do you wanna have everything move up to town hall.
Because that's what the bylaw
Because now
says.
they're gonna be collecting, and you wanna do the billing.
Well, no,
So
now listen, that was
So now
that
you
was a
don't-
suggestion, no, if you get,
Now
I
you're
have
not-
no
now
i-
you're doing it all in one place.
if you want,
You're
to
doing the, exactly
I understand.
what they're saying we're doing wrong,
I understand what you're saying,
even
but
though we've never had a
our
problem.
billings,
down here.
our billing goes out
Yeah.
to a separate company, we don't fold envelopes like you guys do down here.
We do it
Well, it's
separately.
just.
We do it
Seems a
separately,
little
a
odd
separate
that-
company. But again, if you guys wanna do your billing, again, I
We
mean, that-
can't answer that.
I
No,
can't
it would
answer
only
that,
be
but I mean,
checked by you up there, not us down here, that.
We
don't do it.
So,
we don't do it.
All right,
well,
Bert,
you check it, right? No one checks what the.
It goes out through the different departments,
No
it
one's
goes out
checking on
to,
them, you have to be
of course, it's checked
It
on.
goes out through-
Here's
Okay,
my
those are the
problem.
same
If we go ahead and
people
give
that
it and start this
collecting, right, out of
process.
that one office.
He
We can
will
start
keep
this
doing what he's
here
been
and
doing
we can't
and
answer
keep
that.
on leaning on us forever. And I don't want that to happen. We need to get something in return. This is a quid pro quo.
Well, that's-
You want something from us? Give us something.
Okay, I mean, I'm gonna take that back. I think, Bernie, you have some,
I heard DOI mentioned and my ears lit up. And I'm not all that familiar or happy with this quid pro quo. Let's make a deal thing. It's
Well,
a
it has to
lie.
do with the town administrator. He will not give you anything unless you have something he wants.
I've had financial dealings with him before, and I'm not happy with the results.
Nobody
I
is.
agree with you,
Ask around town.
but I don't have any proof about
Yeah, well, I
the
do.
things you're saying. The Department of Revenue, Division of Local Services, under the Enterprise Law 44F and a half, says that when you have a enterprise fund, it's to consolidate all of your revenues and expenses and operating performance
that's right.
in the fund, which will provide the community a useful way of deciding whether the rates need to be increased or the reserve fund should be increased. Do you have a reserve fund?
They
Yes,
just started last year. They just started that with OPEB last year.
Which is going to help
No,
repair
Mark should speak
or
to that.
replace?
They
Oh,
have-
no,
Mark
we
should
have our
speak
free
to
cash. We have our free cash.
Yes.
Okay.
That's different than
Yeah,
a.
that's free, then we have the other fund, the other one is if we have to have something that, if free cash was a certified, we can get into by, we have that.
That's right.
Or not really a rainy day fund,
It's
but,
an emergency fund.
yeah, and so we do have free cash for our expenses over and above our normal operating costs.
Right,
That's
and
what the
that
free
was
cash
just
is used
What the
for.
selectmen don't
Any surplus.
understand and don't realize is the reason this enterprise fund was established in the first place was to get control away from the selectmen
They
because
want
they were
They didn't want it.
destroying the sewer department. That's why it was originally established, and now the whole thing's come around full circle
I can
again.
guarantee you we
I
don't want
can,
your money.
I can say this, and this is just John Capel speaking. The enterprise fund is the sewer users and this department's organizational funds.
Right.
This is what pays your employees, it's
Everything.
what pays your, everything.
Yeah.
You know, that 1 point something million of users fees that you get annually
Yeah.
pays the salaries and benefits and programs of this
Insurance,
organization.
OPEB,
Everything,
everything.
everything.
Chemical-
To include
chemical
Gardner,
repairs.
to include Gardner, you have to pay
Yeah.
Gardner now, like 2.5.
Or guided.
200,000, whatever it is.
700,000.
Yeah.
And from my perspective, as a person who's outside the system and I don't know what's going on at town hall and all that, I see the fact that someone at the town hall discovers that you have $50,000 surplus and suddenly pilot tax is imposed and they want money.
I can guarantee
Well,
you.
not
we
under
don't
my
want your
watch.
money.
And to see
Not
and
on
to
my
remember
watch.
how the town has taken care of their finances in the past makes me very, very nervous to try and understand why they want to come in and create more work for themselves, collecting money, which is already being collected here.
Yeah, well, it's just part
It
of.
makes me as a
It's part of
citizen
the
very
audit net
suspicious.
recommendations, and that's, we're trying to work through all of those.
Well, it's a
Well,
good, it's
that was
actually a
only
good
to
recommendation.
collect, not to-
Same
That's
thing,
correct.
bill.
Right.
Send the bills
I'm
out,
sorry, Bob,
collect
I'm
the money.
deaf.
That was
And-
only to collect,
That's
not
right.
to bill.
Correct.
It would
That's
seem
correct.
to do both.
No, we
Seems
looked at
quite odd
both.
to
We,
me.
listen, we looked at both. We wanted to make sure that again, if it's not broken, don't fix it, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
We looked at both to make sure what was gonna benefit not only the sewer users, but the department of the sewer department. Would it be easier for us to charter your bills and charter them out, and then the collection would happen without reducing any staff?
Right.
What would be easier for the sewer department? Now, if you guys want to come back and say, well, we want to spend the 100+ hours every quarter to stuff envelopes, then that's on you guys.
No, that number is very inflated.
It is inflated.
And what we wanted to do, we had some other ones from a few years back.
Mhm.
When we did the rate study, when Chris Woodcock did
Yep.
the rate study, we spent $10,000 or $12,000 for that, to show us where we should be with our sewer rates,
Right,
what we should be charging, connection fees, all that stuff.
right.
We should be up higher than where we are now, but we're not. And the reason for that, why we didn't go 100% with the study, is that we don't need that extra monies. And we should maybe be up 9 or 10% more than where we are at right now, but we don't need it.
Not only that.
Well, that's great, because I'm a
just
sewer user,
survey
so
that
keep my bill down.
We're among the lowest rates of sewer charges anywhere around,
So,
anywhere in the state.
yeah, so in that rate study also was time for billing and all that other stuff. So we do have something, I forgot where it is, I'll have to look it back up, but we have that, how many hours it takes to do this,
Mhm.
the postage. And like, we went to a point where we used to have the postage machine, where
Yeah, when you put it,
yeah,
I
but
got
we
you.
had, because you had to be bonded, and you had to have, whatever, but it's cheaper for us to do the stamps than it was to have the machine. Because everyone thought the machine's so much cheaper, but when it, the overall cost, it was cheaper for us to do just regular stamps.
Right.
So we've been doing this over the years of things, how to reduce our costs. There's always been a thing about the return envelopes. They're printed, our return envelopes, I think of the last one only cost us like $300 tops for all our envelopes, for the whole year.
Mhm.
Printed and a whole bit like that. Because we have Carol, was it Templeton offset printing he does? He does it for us. It's only $300 to return envelopes.
Okay.
You get almost a $1.2 million budget for the sewer department, and we're talking about a couple $100 on return envelopes. You know what I mean? It's a big thing. There are other things let's say other things we could cut back on. I mean, I don't know, can you cut back on the bottled water that we buy for you?
No, I mean,
save a couple $100 a year, you know what
I mean, the uniform stuff,
Yeah.
believe me, there's a whole bucket list of things that you could potentially look at, but I mean, that's not what we're asking.
Yeah.
That's not what we're asking.
Right.
Well, that's what he's asking in his proposals, and I'll say it again. Figures lie and liars figure.
And you're talking a minuscule amount of money, so, but we get back to where we were. We will work together to do the collections at Town Hall. But to do that, we need to have, not that you have concessions, we need to have our employees paid what they're owed. It's coming from sewer department money, not come from taxation. It was voted at town meeting to pay him this rate.
Well,
And that's what we
Well,
need to have done.
Mr. Chairman, you're right, it was voted at town meeting.
Yeah.
What was voted at town meeting was your overall budget. The line item budget was not,
It was a line item budget, right?
that's correct, it's
It
an
was
overall budget. So, I mean, to
Just
sit
do
there.
the performance evaluation.
Right, I mean, obviously, with the policy
Just have
in
to
place
follow
for the
personnel
performance
policy.
evaluation, and you only have 1.5 employees, it would've taken you, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes for
Half an
your
hour to an
sewer
hour.
superintendent to knock that out and send it up, but, I mean, he didn't wanna do it, and we talked about that as well. Another memo, you guys did get the other memo that came out on January 9th of 2019, that went directly to Mr. Songer. I mean, you guys saw this memo,
I
correct?
don't know which one you have.
Which specifically talks about the non-union employees,
That's his part.
and just having, and the paper, the form's already drafted, all right? Check off some
Fill out the
stuff,
form.
fill out the form, it's very simple, and we'll be more than happy to go back and pay and retro pay whatever we need to do, in order to satisfy the need of the
Can't
employee.
commit to retro.
Then again, he
Yes,
talks about, I've seen this, he talks about opinion of town council. Town council, it's opinion.
Okay,
In that last request we made from town council about opinions,
Mhm.
it's pretty clear to us that he conspired with Carter to have the decisions come down on the side of the town.
I
It's
got
as
the
clear as
same,
the nose
I
on my
got
face,
the,
John.
I got the same thing from the, I wouldn't say the advisory committee as a whole, but I got a similar, you can have that. You can have that.
I've seen it.
Okay. I mean, obviously, when the town council gave its recommendation based on the questions that you sent up,
Yeah, he works for you guys, we know who he's gonna come down on the
He-
side of.
again, he has to quote Mass General Law, which I believe he did. Same with the other attorneys that did the same thing a couple years ago, with the other attorneys that made the same kind of recommendations. I'm sure you guys saw that as well. So it wasn't like just Mr. Harrington as the new town council that gave recommendations. The same recommendations came out before. And Kent knows that because actually Kent got a raise, if you remember, and Kent's raise was actually taken away by the Board of Selectmen because it wasn't agreed upon and we didn't have the dollars or something else happened. I don't have all the facts to tell you, but there was something that happened.
No, but the money don't come from you.
I know it comes from the sewer users. I mean, but there was something that happened why Kent's raise was not, it was taken away. This was what, 7, 8 years ago? I have the paperwork at home. I don't have it with me.
And you won't let us get our own attorney because we can do the same thing. Our attorney would come down on our side. And you know that.
Well, I mean, it's
We don't know that.
I don't know that,
You know,
Tom.
the thing with this, let me go back to this. This whole thing can go away with one simple swipe of the pen.
Well, and there was other.
Go away.
Well, there's other things too. As you guys are the commissioners, you guys are elected. You guys are elected to do a specific job.
Right.
Right? Okay.
That's what we're doing.
We, as the Board of Selectmen, we've asked and asked and asked over the last year, crazy things. Minutes we never get. We're doing mandatory training now, which is one of my biggest pet peeves because this town never had mandatory training before, which is, and it's free from the state. Free training, like sexual harassment training, work safe environment training, OSHA training, stuff that's out there that's free that we can capitalize for our employees to learn, which we have started doing that. And we've had 2 classes already, and every department showed up except, guess which department?
Well, guess what?
Kathy
We're
was at the last
getting a new
one.
superintendent. We got a chance to
I'm
wipe
sorry.
the slate clean.
1 second, what'd you say?
Kathy Webster was at the last one.
The sexual
She
harassment one?
signed in.
Okay,
We got a chance to wipe the slate clean by one simple stroke of the pen.
thank you.
Can't do it.
All this goes away.
Yep.
And you don't want to give an inch. He doesn't want to give an inch.
No, listen,
one
it's not
request.
about inches, it's about how we're gonna, and again, I'm utilizing other boards to make sure that we're doing the same thing, which has never been done before. So like these questions you're asking, are not gonna sit with me. I'm gonna put them in writing with the assistance of my board, with all of us, and I'm gonna send them to the advisory committee. I'm gonna let them make a decision to advise us on what's the best course of action going forward, because that's what they're supposed to be there for. So it's not just me, because I'm not gonna work in a bubble. And if I'm not gonna make your job harder, I wanna make your job easier. We all have to work together.
Harder.
Well, it's getting harder because...
My negotiations
Yeah.
with Carter, because I was appointed a spare for 2 years.
Right.
And I gave him everything he wanted. He wanted Kent to go to department meetings. He wanted the budget put in the way he expected. There was 4 or 5 other things. I gave him everything. What I got in return is crap about taking away her benefits and stuff. I got nothing, 0.
Okay.
And it wasn't until I refused to let him talk to our TA guy, or not TA, our IT guy.
Yeah, IT guy, yeah.
That he finally consented to get behind a proposal to at least get prorated benefits for it. Otherwise, he had no intentions of doing that, because like I said before, if you don't have something he wants, you get nothing.
So
I mean, would it be too challenging, to have the non-union employees get their evaluations done? I mean, they're already printed forms. I don't
He's not
understand.
entitled to them. They don't report to him.
That's right.
No, you guys
Know
do
my
them.
jobs.
I might consider doing that in the future if we
Well,
can-
you guys do them. The TA's not actually doing the evaluation. You guys do the evaluation.
You do 'em.
You're just sending them up there to the personnel file. That's all you're doing.
hand behind you.
I'd like to address this pay. Everybody says they're going back to a year and because of valuations. I'm waiting on 2 years of corrected pay and benefits, and I still haven't gotten them. I'm in a position that's supposed to be paid at least $3 more. I'm asking for $1 and I can't get
You know,
it.
the
$1.50
common denominator
or
is your
$2.
town
I'm still
administrator.
arguing over
I
2
told you 2 years ago that if you didn't get him back in his own lane, there would be no cooperation in this department, and it's happened, hasn't it? I also told you, if you didn't lighten up and stop leaning on us and abusing authority, there would be MCAT complaints. It happened, hasn't it? Okay? And I'm telling you right now, John, this collection is going nowhere unless we at least get one thing we're asking for.
Can I say something?
Bobby was there. Yeah, Bobby.
Yes, Bob.
Well, the way I understand the enterprise money, we come up with a budget, you guys submit it to the town, and you can make changes to it if you wanna. Goes to town meeting, it's voted at town meeting. And then, the way I understand, if you go on the enterprise, and the way you're supposed to run it after it's appropriated, is to our sewer committee, our board, to expend the money. So if he wants to do the reviews, that's fine, but if we're expending the money, don't we have the say of how the money's gonna be spent? It seems like,
You have to follow the personnel policy.
The TA's not doing the reviews.
The TA's not doing the
The
review.
superintendent of this department, the supervisor of the non-union employees is doing the review. Your union employees are all protected under the same union under the highway, so that's a whole other animal, because
Right,
with
yeah.
those negotiations are a different
When you
animal.
talk about the evaluations for the employees, if Ken sent up, he did me an evaluation and a copy and everything, and it's at Carter, the town administrator's discretion to give me basically what the sewer department's already agreed to give me, and he says no. It's at his discretion, we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
I would
We're getting
I would
my
have to,
problem is right there is, it's our board, it's voted at town meeting, what we're gonna pay our employees. The town voters vote on it. And we
Well,
say, okay,
the
we're supposed to
town,
expend the money. If you go and read the literature and the DOR website, we say, okay, we wanna expend the money, and the town manager says,
No.
no.
The-
And another problem I have with it is, it's been a lot of work done down here on that pump station, a lot of other things in the infrastructure, a lot of extra work for her, the rest of the crew, and Kent has spent a lot of time on that.
yeah.
And to me, it's a good kick in the teeth to basically be told, hey, I guess you're not doing a good enough job, and all of a sudden you're not worth it.
Well,
I
no.
really,
I'm not aware of that.
that is not what we're trying to say here.
well, it
That is
seems
not-
odd to me that we want to expend the money, it's voted at town meeting.
Well, your overall budget is voted at town meeting, it's a number, it's 1.2 million plus or minus dollars.
Okay,
The
we
breakdown is
expect-
not broken down like the town's
Well, it
budget.
doesn't matter, we expend the money
Mhm.
as a board, as a voting body,
Mhm.
the way, go home, go on the internet, read the way you're supposed to run it. I believe that's the way, at least every time I've looked at it, it's, the board decides how to expend the money within our,
Purview.
within what we said we're gonna vote on. The money was there, the town voters knew what we expected to spend the money on.
And that's why
So
last
if you
year,
can-
well, the town doesn't.
And did
well, up
anyone tell
until-
him?
Up until, not to interrupt you, Bob, but up
No, I
until
mean-
last year was the first year, all before that, up until I only went back to 2009, it was just an overall number. The town had no idea, whatever the sewer department did,
Right.
did. So if it was a $1.2 million budget, say, we use that for a number,
Yeah.
that's what was voted at town meeting,
Right.
1.2 million. Last year, well, actually, 2 years ago, we actually said, hey,
How
we're
do you
doing,
come up with that amount? of
we're
money?
doing a line item budget, how are you coming up with that?
It was
And
always
where's-
broken down.
We're, not, no.
You could go into the quarterly reports and look what we spent and what line
It
items.
was always,
Come on.
it was always broken
Look
down.
at
It was broken down, but it
The only
wasn't,
time that didn't happen is when they got in so much trouble out there, with the books, they never put a book out.
no, and that was 09 and 10, and it wasn't
No.
just a
So
sewer
it wasn't
department.
like you couldn't look back.
And it wasn't
to
just
say
the
you
sewer
couldn't.
department that money was taken from either by this town. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It
Well, I
wasn't
know
just this
that.
department. The light department got hit as well. And again, is it right? No, it's the wrongest thing you can possibly do. It's like taking ambulance receipts receivable. You cannot do it. So anybody that's in these seats, if they do stuff like that, as far as I'm concerned, they need to be fired themselves.
The first year that I got elected, you get elected in next day's town meeting, I
Yeah.
always say that. And they took, the year before they took 200-some thousand, you remember 200-some thousand, right? Bobby was here by himself.
Oh my God.
The other two commissioners were gone, they didn't show up for years. And so he was by himself, there's nothing he could do. I got elected, they took 50,000 out the next day after I got elected.
Oh my God.
Right, so I said, that's not gonna happen again, so the following year, they tried to take 50,000 out again. And I went to, selectmen's meeting, and what I said was, what you're saying to my sewer users, that hidden within their bill, they are paying more money to fund the town, just because they have sewer. That's what, it's like hidden within their,
Right.
and that's what it comes down to, that when they took that money, Because you got sewer hidden in your bill, you pay more to fund the general fund than the other guy who doesn't have sewer.
Yeah, I can't swear in this meeting, because he's not gonna bleep me out, but that is
But
beyond
that's what
wrong.
they did, so we had a heated discussion at one of the selectmen's meetings, and they took it off, you know what I mean? I said, no, as soon as you said hidden within the bill, that just went up, you know, how that went up.
Oh, yes.
And that's basically what it came down to, you know, didn't ask, just took it, you know, it just showed up on, at the pre-town meeting.
Right,
So, yeah, so John,
yes.
Can I say something here? I'm seeing something major here that's broke. An enterprise fund is an entity which is supposed to be set up in a town
Yep.
to keep the operation and finances
they are separate.
totally separate from the town.
They are.
The operation.
Yeah.
Well, your employees
not the
are part of your
Not the
operation.
operation, just the money piece.
You
part.
collect money, and I'm told that you collect enough money to pay your people.
Everything.
And run your expenses.
Right.
But your people aren't getting the money.
No, we just have,
And also, how can your employees, how can you expect your employees to
Hang in
respect you if the board here and the superintendent can't even have control over what he pays his people?
Right, that's our point.
The town should keep their fingers out of the operation of enterprise funds.
That's the whole point, Bernie. And I've made a very fair proposition here. It would be very simple to implement, and I keep getting, well, the town bylaws.
How do we, John, how about chairman to chairman?
Let me just address Bernie's question real quick. The enterprise fund is an accounting tool, period, that's all it is. It's just a separate line item budget, and it goes to the sewer department, that's all. It doesn't talk about operation, doesn't talk about anything. The operation control is done by the town's policies,
Sewer board.
the town's policies.
We shouldn't have a commission.
The
I
commissioners,
said the commissioners.
and, no, the commissioners have, you know, again, you guys have a specific role to play. I mean, you guys are voted and elected individuals, and you guys get compensated for your time.
And you know how it reads, you know, the sewer board, if so be elected, shall have all the duties and powers as a selectman pertaining to the sewer department.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So basically, if you look at the, you want to say the tree,
Mm-hmm.
you're here, we're both at the same level. You know what I mean? You're not holier than thou,
No.
we're not holier than thou, you know what I mean? We're not. We're both on the same level.
But you're still a town department.
We're still talking about, not disputing that. We're not looking for autonomy, you know what I mean? To say, leave it, you know, like, we're not like, our own little,
And they agree.
little
And you agree
country.
that you have to
We're-
abide by town
Well, yeah,
policy.
which is, all the town policies, right, which town policies, town laws, you know what I mean, yes. That's
So
what we
the
have to-
personnel policies are included in that.
So was the
Why
financial
does it
policy?
say
Those
that
are the
all
financial
the
policies.
All
of
of a
all
sudden they are.
town people not under the Board of Selectmen, except those under the Board of Selectmen? There it is, you can read
No,
it yourself.
I don't,
Yeah, but you know what I mean?
I wrote
That's
it.
that's where a lot of the sticking point comes. I mean, it's no different going to court and you have a prosecutor and defender. Everybody's gonna read the law.
They're gonna interpret it the way they want to interpret it. I got
I
you.
mean, pro and cons.
I have to
So-
go down.
Okay,
So
I'm
what do
really
we,
sorry.
that's okay.
as chairman, John?
Can I interrupt you for a minute?
Yes,
I'm
you may.
sorry I have to go to a meeting, but I really
Thanks.
wanted
Thanks for
to
coming.
thank you
Okay.
for inviting us to
Don't
come.
lose any sleep tonight. Have a nice next meeting. Okay.
I hope,
Can we talk
I
about
truly
you
hope that
while
we
you're gone?
can come to some kind of terms
We've already said we will.
with this.
But,
That there's not just gonna be a line drawn in the sand and that we can really,
On both sides of us. Neither
that
one of us
we-
draw a line.
right.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
is that we don't just draw a line in the sand and that we just,
And our timetables are, there's no timetable. It will be
we're
done.
working on it
We'll work
together.
on it.
Yep, collectively,
Okay.
collaboration.
Thank you.
Well, we wholeheartedly agree on that,
That's
you know what I mean?
okay. I appreciate your time.
Okay. Right. Jeff wants to say something.
This whole thing is, and again, doesn't happen just in Templeton, but I'll speak to Templeton. The bylaws get changed, rules get changed, policies get made, and you don't look at
The old
the
law?
starting point. You don't look at the foundation. In 1994, town meeting had a vote to create an enterprise fund for the water and the sewer.
Yep.
And it was to begin with funds in 1996. And that town meeting vote, now that's town meeting vote,
Yep.
okay? They're the people who have appropriate money, set salaries for elected officials, and adopt bylaws, general and zoning. The bylaw the article said an X amount of money would, and it lists where it come from, and some of it was from tax, because you're starting out.
Yeah,
It would be spent for salaries, the expenses, legal costs, etc., under the direction of the elected sewer commissioners.
Right.
That town meeting warrant each and every year till 2017 said the same thing. The money for the appropriated from fees and blah blah raised through the sewer enterprise fund would be for salaries, expense, all the operation costs under the direction of the elected sewer commissioners. After 17, the article was trimmed down. We also have not had a line item budget presented to town meeting since 2016 was the last one. It's the town, at town meeting, line item budget that the moderator could read and people could say hold. And you could move each individual line, like you say, raises for town employees. Town meeting could change that.
Yep.
Now it's just one figure. You just see one lump sum. It's hard. I can't even, I'm on the advisory committee. I can't tell you how much they've spent on legal costs this year because there is no, in the monthly expenditure report, there is no line that says legal expenses. It's under Board of Selectmen purchase of services. And there's several things that are grouped in there. It is in that legislative book. There is a line item that says sewer enterprise fund, for example, has personnel, employee support, expenses and stuff. So there is listed separately. But when it goes to town meeting, it's boom. When it comes to the raises, there is a sum of money that's under the Board of Selectmen's budget. I think it's $40,000 this year for merit raises, cost of living allowances for town employees. Now that's separate from the sewer budget.
Right.
So that money to me is under the control of the town administrator to give out and judge employees doing their job, merit it. The sewer budget is the enterprise fund. Those raises for non-union employees, again, under the elected sewer commissioners. If you don't think your superintendent's doing his job right, are you going to give him a raise?
No.
Would you want to approve that? No, you're wasting ratepayers' money if he's not doing his job. So again, it goes back to the foundation when the enterprise funds were created and town meeting vote. The intent and the actual vote was to give oversight of the sewer enterprise fund to the elected sewer commissioners. And that's how it went all the way till 2017. And it has never been a suggestion or recommendation to move billing, to reduce staff, any of those things. It's always been a suggestion or recommendation to separate collections from creating the bills. As far as, and just the notation, as far as a bad check, how do you deal with bad checks? If you follow the town's bylaw under financial affairs, section 1, it says the town collector. Well, in the treasurer collector handbook is a policy, an outline. If you go and write the town a bad check, this is what the steps the collector does. Boom, boom, boom. And that's put out by the Division of Local Services. So there's always been a process. You don't have, if you have a separate policy, well, you've kind of duplicated what's in the treasurer's handbook. You're just putting it out there so it's easier to go grab. But it's always been there in the collector's handbook. All the collector has to do, or anyone else, is look at that and take the time and read it. But again, and so you look at the foundation, how the enterprise fund and what the town meeting vote has been over the years. And it's just been about the sewer commissioners having direction over the sewer enterprise fund.
Yeah, within the scope of the laws of the town or the Commonwealth and all the Massachusetts laws.
Again,
that's what we're
you
doing.
oversee the sewer money.
Well, they hide behind the bylaws that support their cause, but they ignore the bylaws that don't support their cause. I mean, that's the way it is.
John, if this proposal goes through and the town starts collecting money, do you expect that the town is going to invoice the sewer enterprise fund for the collector's time?
And Bernie, in one of the proposals.
No, what's the answer to my question? Because either the town's going to bill you for the collector's time, or you're gonna have to pay a collector here,
Right, which the collector already does with its,
as part of her other duties.
Yeah, we're a full
Yeah,
week.
she's doing it now as part of her job.
Because
Yeah.
in the memorandum that the town administrator wrote up, it says that had a conversation with the collector's office, says, could they handle the 1,400 bills a quarter more than what, added to it? They says, yes, no, with the current staff, no problem. And then it reads on later, it says that then they're gonna charge us
Oh, yeah.
money. So
Absolutely.
if the collector said they could do it, for each quarter, the 1,400 customers, and take care of them, why do they need more money?
A collector is going to get paid, whether it comes out of this pocket or that
That
pocket, it really doesn't make a big difference, other than the inefficiency of having another place that they've gotta, that the sewer
We gotta
department
move
has to
stuff
deal
around.
with.
Right, the only thing it makes it's gonna make it just a little easier, probably just on the accounting part for the collection, that's it, right, Carol? That's all it does is, but we still have reconciliations that have to be done with our regular monthly budgets that go out, our warrants, all that other stuff, so that stuff, it still has to be done here, and then reconciliation up there. All it is just a one part of the collections, so I know what you're coming from, it's not a perfect, it's perfect, yeah, I know what you mean. If you want to save the ratepayers money, do collections up there and don't charge us nothing.
Because wouldn't that go back to your point about the 50,000?
Yeah.
All taxpayers in Templeton are not sewer ratepayers.
Right.
But the sewer ratepayers are taxpayers.
Yeah.
So through their property taxes, they're already paying for the operation of the treasurer collector's office.
Right.
And if you're gonna charge the enterprise fund for doing the collections, they're paying twice
Right.
to operate that office.
Right.
If you wanna save them money, like you said, you don't charge the enterprise fund for doing that work.
Right.
Because the treasurer's already said she could do it
Right,
with the
it's
staff.
like I said about the envelopes. If we don't- if-
Time-wise, you can do it. But
Time-wise,
money-wise, they're gonna charge the sewer department.
But the
for
ratepayers
sure.
are paying twice.
Ratepayers are paying twice. And that's what, I mean, it just keeps going, it just gets, the more we think about more things, we come up with more things, and it's almost like, why even do it? We're not gonna get fined, it's not against the law what we're doing. You know what I mean? Do we just spend some more time on reconciliation of the books, find out the dollars, things here, tweak some more things in our accounting system for the town's accounting system, between the people who are doing it now at no extra cost at all, because that's their weekly job. Why don't we do that, It just ends up, it's save, cost. So I know, all the food, we're just taking money from this hand, put it in this hand, put it back in the other, and it just,
It's
Very
not,
inefficient.
it's not about that, it's about power.
yeah, and so, well, all right, let's get back, John, Chairman, what do we do to go forward? Where, I'll just say, with the non-union personnel? This week, we give you the reviews for the two employees,
Okay,
and then what, they get, then they're gonna get their pay?
yes.
Will they get their pay for the whole year that it's out of sewer, it's all been
Yes.
voted on? Okay. So Carol, we'll make that happen,
There's,
What about the
it's not that simple.
because,
She is not being paid equitably per the rate of the same job that there's a minimum pay rate on the town books. Let's say it's $15 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
She's $1 or $2 below that, doing the same job. That has to be reconciled too. I don't know what the difference is, Carol, but I know it's not a lot, but it's probably a couple of dollars.
It is.
that's what's figured into the budget for us for the year, is the wages for that. Because she's been sending in the wage as what she should be getting paid, and just keeps getting kicked back. It's on there every month, every week, you know what I mean? There's money there that says how much is owed.
What's your hourly rate, Carol?
It's supposed to be, or what it is?
What it's supposed to be?
$15.62,
And what are you getting?
$13.57. $2
Now-
basically.
Just one caveat, if we go ahead and supply the reviews,
Yeah.
I don't want them kicked back by Carter saying, well, no, I don't agree with this, and then we're gonna be in the same position
Well,
next year.
first and foremost, the review is done by either the sewer commissioners or the superintendent.
Right.
That's your review of the individual
Okay,
non-union
they're gonna-
employee.
They are what they are.
They are what they are. You can't, I mean, why, I mean, you're not gonna kick a review back that somebody else did. That makes, I mean,
Well, a
well-
lot of what he does doesn't make any sense.
well, let me just tell you, I mean, if your sewer commissioners or the superintendent does the review of the non-union employees, and those reviews get up to the Board of Selectmen office, then that's the start. That would be the starting point, and then we can go from
It
there.
should be a week or two from there, they should be able to make the adjustments.
I would hope so.
We'll start.
But I will,
Light a fire under them?
I will be there, I can tell you that.
Any managers review that you guys do,
Yes.
is it just the chairman that does it?
No, it's the board collectively does it, usually in
you
an
vote?
executive session, yes.
An executive session?
Yep. That's like when we do contract negotiation. And then obviously he, as the town administrator, is doing the review of the management fellow, which he should have in our hands probably the next week and a half, 2 weeks. Then we will review that to maintain, you know, hopefully, and I think he's doing a great job, because the whole point of this, and again, you talked about discrepancies, what did you pull out, 19 discrepancies, Jeff?
17,
17?
Tom, 17 discrepancies.
Was it 17 discrepancies? Well, I think out of the 17, 9 were already corrected before you even came and did the management review or the back brief to us. Because some of them were really small, and I think we corrected them immediately. But there was
originally 26 and 16, and then it got pared down to.
yeah, whatever, 9. I think it's 9. I think we have 9. But again, the town is. I have to, you know, go on my soapbox just for a moment, because again, I mean, and Jeff can contest to this. I mean, when I took office, I mean, this town was almost in receivership, and you're right, it was almost to the point where the state was going to come in. I mean, to the point where I'm like, I didn't know why I even ran, and people were calling me crazy, and I said, well, you know, I mean, leadership is leadership. I mean, you have to have a straight face, and you got to go into it with your eyes open, which I did. The first order of business I had to do is you know, the town got sued. And the first order of business I had to do was sign an $80,000 check. Was my first order of business as chairman of the Board of Selectmen when I first got elected. Excuse me. The second order of my business was to try to find every avenue of resources of dollars that the town could find. Whatever, without hitting the taxpayers, without hitting the burden the taxpayers any more than they need to be burdened. To me included. Hence why, you know, we forced the audits. We wanted the audits done. We went to 2 separate audit companies. The first one couldn't do it in time, so we went to the second audit company, which we have right now, which is Tony's group. They did all the audits. We got, you know, since 2012, so 2012 to 16, all the audits were done. We finally got reconciliation of dollars, and we got free cash for the first time, which was what, $1.7 million, $1.5 million, something like that. First initial free cash allotment, which this town hasn't seen since 2012.
Yeah.
And
And also what happened in that meantime, before the free cash, it held up our free cash.
Sure did.
For any of our things, because we
Sure did.
We had, like we'll say had $800,000 in it. We never could access for years.
Nope, that's right.
Because it was still tied up.
That's right.
And I'm gonna say this, to my own horn the same way.
Yep.
To get the soapbox, is that Bobby was here by himself.
Yep.
And the administrations that were there took advantage of him.
I'm sure.
Because he was only one person and one voice, couldn't have meetings or anything like that, right?
Right.
And then that's what they took off, we'll say 300,000, they took over a period of time, or 275, whatever it was. And we had things broken everywhere, we had no rate study done.
Right.
I mean, all it was just, we had suits too, we had that one suit about the entrance fees.
Yeah.
Right, we had all that stuff.
That was before my time.
Yeah, and that was just numbers that were thrown out there, so me and Bobby straightened a lot of stuff out. Then we got Tom on board, he's more nickels and dimes, you know what I mean? And he's our IT guy, you know, helps us with that, and we did the same thing. And now we have monies in our free cash.
You have coffers, yep.
We can get to it, we've improved through our equipment,
Yep.
our infrastructure, all the stuff we've been doing, and we're on good solid ground now.
Yep.
And like I said, you guys got a couple of things like
Well,
this, and we have our things.
We're the town is on good solid ground for today.
And
Yeah.
Now, what's gonna happen tomorrow, I don't
Give
know.
you credit, you guys have made a lot of progress, which,
Yep.
but you got a lot to go.
Oh, yeah.
Which
Yeah.
begs the question, why are you wasting your time with the sewer department?
Yeah.
I got your
That little,
point.
that little
I
bit,
got
you
your
know what I
point.
mean? That
We're
we're
pretty
dealing
well
with.
run down here.
I got your point.
I think,
If it isn't broken, you
Nothing's
don't
broken
fix
here,
it.
I just think, all right, we'll get the, I just,
except for the pump once in a while.
yeah.
Well, how's the Pleasant Street Pump Station, since we're on TV?
You know,
How's that
Hey,
operation
we
going?
could have a Christmas party down there.
Is it that good?
Oh, it's that clean as nice. You gotta go, I mean.
I need a tour.
Yeah.
I need to get a tour, because I'll tell you, that was, I've had, you know, a few constituents, sewer users, asking like, where'd that million some odd dollars go for the sewer department? That went to the pump station. Well, where is it?
Yeah.
It's in Baldwinville.
40 feet below ground.
Where, I don't see it. No, because it's underground. It's underground. And they're like, oh wow, that's incredible. I said, yeah, I mean, it's well worth it. It, you know, it does a great job. It's,
I mean, that was, that'll last forever, you know what I mean, what's there now. Granted, we got a few more small things that still have to be done, not
Right.
there, but in our infrastructure, but we're on good, solid
right.
ground. But now the plant's getting older, we're still gonna have these things, you know, 30 grand, 40 grand, that
Yep.
would end up coming up.
I mean, you got a driveway proposal going out there.
Driveway proposal,
Yep.
because it's just falling apart,
Yep,
and
I
the
saw
driveway
that.
comes through.
And you're using capital planning well, I would assume?
Yeah, we just go to them and
Okay.
do what we have to do, and they say, no problem, and it's in the budget.
It's all, see, this is all about working together. It's not about, you know, me against you or us against them, and,
Right.
you know,
So
I mean, and I use all the smart people in the town, because I don't know everything. I turn to the guy to my left, I call him on the phone, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing sometimes, but I wanna make sure I do the right things for the right reasons. And then I send things up to the other boards, which was never done before. Like, the Board of Selectmen make decisions autonomously, which they can do, on certain things, but now I want the advice of the other boards, such as the advisory committee, you know, because they, you know, they're supposed to give us the advice that we're supposed to need. You know, other boards and committees, working with the school department, working with our partisan here against the Rangeville School District. And again, I mean, Bernie and I go head to head with the school department, remember the talks that we've had with that. I mean, you know, in 4 years, it goes up almost $4 million almost. I mean, there's some things, but again, like I said, we're solid right now today. We have money in our coffers, we have stabilization dollars, we have OPEB started. We're in the right direction. We do have a bond rating. We do have 10.5 million that's bonded right now that we're paying on. At an interest rate of like 3.4%. I mean, so we are going in the right direction. But can the tower all come collapsing down?
Oh, yeah.
Of course it can. I mean, one bad explosion in town, and you know, there goes everything. But I think if we work well with the school, we work well with the sewer, we work well with the other departments, I think we will have a better opportunity to get things
You know,
accomplished.
and we have our meetings every month. Very, very seldom anybody shows up. You know what I mean? Like I said, every so often we get blindsided by email, we want this done tomorrow, and it's never no heads up. It's more of a demand than a request sometimes, and that's what gets each side hot.
Right.
And, you know, I apologize for getting hot. Tom, I'm not gonna apologize to him, but.
I'm not gonna apologize.
Okay.
No, he will not apologize. And, like I said in the hallway to you prior to coming in here, I do want to apologize to you, Mr. Chairman, just because I didn't want people to get the wrong impression that I would think that there's wrongdoing happening here. And that wasn't my intention. Like Tom brought up the perceptions reality thing, and you're right. Being in the service for a long time, I mean, it's just how it is. Perception's reality.
Yeah.
And
Not always.
not always, but I mean, but unfortunately, the way society is today, you know, that's the money, that's the cards we have to play.
So I think if anybody else, we've been beating this horse, it
Yes.
hasn't fallen down yet.
Appreciate you coming down. I feel like this is almost like a one-on-one, but not really, you know. And I think
Well, I got all my notes. I will have this on the agenda for the next Board of Selectmen meeting. I will be in communication with the town administrator and the management fellow.
What we'll do is, we'll get your employee reviews, evaluations, we'll get them to you this week.
Yep.
Right, Carol? Right.
Now, Mr. Chairman, have you received the bill for the attorney fees?
Which we have received some, but then we got some that we had questions on.
We had questions on it because there were
No
several
explanations.
instances on there where there was a telephone consultation with
The town administrator?
Which he was specifically asked not to do because we felt there was some collusion there. We're not sure we want to pay those.
We have some
We
invoices
feel he
that
may have
have.
influenced his decisions, given one side of the story, like he usually does, support his cause and not a true thing, so I'm not sure we're gonna pay those.
We had some invoices that had no, you just had a 4.3 hours, X amount of dollars, with no reasoning behind it. It just says draft. We didn't get the
Yeah,
draft.
that too.
It's
Oh, yeah, I
almost,
saw
it's
that.
like me
I saw
sending you
that.
a bill and just pay it because I sent you a bill. What's this for? Well, why don't I just pay it? I sent you a bill. So we had 4 or 5 of those issues that we want to know what we're paying for, and we never received them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we pay for
What did we receive?
an opinion, and now we get charged for 3 or 4 drafts before he gives that opinion. That's his problem.
I mean, I'll look
Yeah,
at that.
and that was, because we have no, we don't know what we're getting billed for. Just got a invoice number, you owe $462, you owe this, you owe $700, and there's nothing, no reason for it.
Okay, I'll look into
Have a
that.
seat at the table either.
Yeah, so what we'll do is, we'll get those things going, and then when it comes down to the collections, this is gonna have to be, you know what I mean?
It's baby
So
steps.
I'm not against it happening at town hall, but it's gonna have to make sense between all of us.
Mhm.
As in cost-wise. If it's just gonna take monies, it's gonna go from, our staff isn't gonna get any smaller here.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Your staff up there, and if it's gonna help out some way, fine. But we're gonna look at it.
Okay.
I mean, all of us, both of us are gonna look, if it makes sense. Is it gonna make almost a whole bunch more work, and what's it gonna accomplish?
And what's it gonna
And
cost?
yeah, what's it gonna cost in the end run? So if it makes 10 more steps and costs money, why, but we just gotta justify it. And
I mean, if you look at the rate Carol's making, and she, the man hours that go involved in collecting,
woman hours.
and you go up there and you say, well, it's gonna be twice as many man hours, either we're gonna charge you also a higher rate, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Understood.
But there's the issue of the same person collecting and billing too, so
Yes.
that has to be addressed, I recognize that.
Right, that's the only thing I'm looking
Yeah.
at. Jeff, what was did you guys talk about that, the advisory committee? Do you guys have discussion on that, that you can talk about?
On the sewer stuff?
Yeah.
I just brought the attention to the newer members, the audit of the DOR report, the audit of 11, the management letter of 11, and just so they'd be up to speed on the recommendations over the years. But as far as, that's really
That's as
what
far
it
as
was,
you got
just a general discussion on, so they were up to speed on the
Okay.
background of how that topic came about.
All right.
One more question if I could, why didn't you put our article on the town warrant about the new bylaw?
Which article is that?
Well, you didn't put it on, that's the thing.
Which
About us wanting to have, we want a new bylaw
So that we can have,
that basically
Over our personnel.
gives us control over our personnel policy for our department and legal and everything else. It
I
was
believe-
on there as a
I
citizen's,
believe it's on there.
it's on there as a citizen's petition, but not as submitted by the sewer department. I think it would carry more weight coming from the sewer department.
Okay, I'll look into that.
If you can change that and get it as submitted by the sewer department, I would appreciate it. And if that happens, I would withdraw the citizen's petition that I submitted, then it wouldn't be a duplicate.
okay, is there anything else anybody wants to say?
I'll look into that.
Thank you.
I did read it.
Yeah. Gallery?
Yes, but I'm not gonna.
It's basically the same thing as I asked you for tonight.
All right,
It'd be a lot simpler just to wave a wand and make it happen rather than go to a town vote, but.
I got you.
everything else is, we've all addressed everything else we have there, so. All right, we all set? Okay, I make a motion, we adjourn at 6 o'clock.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.